Good evening, everyone. Welcome to PWOnlyIAS English YouTube channel. Welcome to the Pinnacle and Titan batch, and as well as to my comprehensive current affairs batch students. Please confirm whether the audio and video is clear. Good evening, Dugeshwari, Harshita, Dharani, Sakshi, Adheka, Silent UPSC. Welcome. Harsh Games, Muttu Mageshwaran, Anbaras, Rajeshwari, Jayashri. Shanu, I am fantastic. Thank you for asking. Aishwarya. Mohit, Jai Hind, Kamal, I am fantastic. Thank you for asking. Suryananda, Anish Shailza, Pichapille, Vanshika, Dhanashri Nagapan. How are you? How are you? Okay. Good evening, everyone. All right, people. So, once again, welcome to you all. So, this economic survey, the reason it to be taken again is, first of all, yes, there are not many resources or sources out there where economic survey is dealt in a proper manner. And again, it is a pretty voluminous textbook covering it completely, especially when your prelims is around the corner. That will create unnecessary tension. Number one. Number two, can you skip this completely? Will it affect my preparation? Well, if you have already studied your fundamentals thoroughly, economic fundamentals thoroughly, you are pretty much updated with the current affairs. This will look just like a revision for you. That is the reality. Number one, that is from a prelims perspective I'm saying. But as far as mains perspective is concerned, what if I don't do this? Well, it will have repercussions. Because whatever you see in economic survey, yes, here and there question can come. But the thing with that question will be that we cannot specifically say, oh, it came from survey. Or it came from the fundamentals. Because the entire economic survey, if you see, it is all about fundamentals. Okay, once again, people, can you just confirm the audio and video? Just confirm it. So don't get angry, but voice is little buffering. All right. So we are going to do it pakka properly. Each chapter, if you see, it has connections not only with the economy or with the polity or with international relation. It has connection even with environment. That you will understand when we start dealing with the topic. Okay. Now, because this is YouTube live and the next class will be again held as a live on Tuesday, Thursday and Saturday. The target is to finish this decently well by Saturday. So what is the foremost thing necessary? The foremost thing necessary is that I won't be able to entertain questions like how or doubts, how I used to entertain it earlier. That is, every 5 minutes somebody will ask something random. Because the crowd, if you generally see, it contains of every category of students. Some are like very fresh. They'll straight away ask something as simple as why RBI is increasing the interest rate when there is inflation. What is the link? They will ask like that, either because they are too young or because economics is yet to start for them. This survey, the target audience is basically for those people who are giving their attempt this year, 2026 and 2026 means. Even 27 also will be the target year here. So if your economics classes are yet to start, I would suggest you may skip. Please wait till your economics classes gets over. Because many topics will be there, many components will be there which you won't understand. So what I am going to do is, until and unless I finish the first chapter, you can note down, you keep a book and a pen near you. Whatever you didn't understand, keep it on the side. Maybe after the first chapter is over, or maybe after, let us say, after half an hour or 45 minutes, I will take up the questions. Clear? Voice is disturbed. Voice is disturbed. Saksham is telling. Harshita is telling voice is disturbed. But Archana is telling clear. Kalyani is telling clear. And again, YouTube comments also, as usual, random things are being asked. So what I am going to do is, as of now, I am not going to cater to the whole chat section. Let us only keep the yeah. I'm only going to keep my video here now because even I get distracted when a question pops up. So I will cover a certain portion and then I will ask you any doubts are there. That will be better, I feel. All right. I've told this multiple times. I'm just sitting in Bangalore. So I have no clue about any of these things. You have any queries with regard to your course or when the classes will start, please contact the mentors. I'm not in Noida. I am in Bangalore, the air conditioned city. Okay. So let us get right down into it. First chapter, State of the Economy Pushing the Growth Frontier. Now this particular chapter, if you again see, are you kidding right now? Okay. All right, people. Some technical issues. The first chapter, if you see, it is generally about an overall outlook of what our economy is. So you will find every topic of the subsequent chapters being discussed here. So the first set of discussions is obviously with regard to the major disruptive shock that took place in April 2025, which was US tariff, which was highly unexpected. Suddenly so much of tariff was imposed. It was expected that it is going to create huge amount of disruption. However, lower concerns about lower global growth and higher inflation proved transient in the short run. Effect of these things were found to be, that is, people feared whether there will be inflation will increase, growth will be affected, but both of this turned out to be only for a short time period. It remained like that. Longer effects were not there. If you were attending my current affair classes earlier, also I have told you our exports have actually increased in spite of the tariff. The reason being that India has diversified its export market, and with the continuous amount of free trade agreements which we are signing with multiple countries, and with the improved trade relations what India is having internationally, the image of India, all of this has catered to an increase in exports. Clear, people? So trade agreements between USA and select trading partners reduced its effective tariff. So effectively, if you see, it did not create much impact on India. So is the case with most of the world countries. They all started diversifying. In fact, we have to thank Trump for the India-European Union trade deal. A trade deal which was stuck in the last 20 years, thanks to Trump and the fact that there is still another 3 years for Trump to go. European Union understood that they cannot trust Trump in the long run. A trustable partner which promises growth is India. Again, a huge market, 145 crore or 47 crore population. So always this is going to help European Union. So they struck the deal. But what actually was the reason that in US, that other than the free trade agreements or diversifying our export portfolio, what actually helped in covering this? World Economic Outlook released by IMF. PYQ this is, previously asked question this is, households and businesses in the USA increased spending ahead of expected tariff hike. So before the tariff hike actually started, households actually started what? Spending more money, because they knew that, oh my god, this tariff is going to come, we won't be able to afford. They started purchasing things in advance. Delays in tariff implementation allowed firms to postpone price increases and front load exports. Front loading means doing it in advance, pushing the products. They were able to do it. Growth in emerging market and developing economies in 2025 thus turned out higher. There was a delay. There was obviously a little bit of confusion with regard to the date, etc. So by the time they figured it out, business people, what they did, whatever they had to purchase and keep earlier, they did that. Whatever they had to, push, that they also did. Clear? Growth in advanced economies. Now, what do you mean by an advanced economy? Advanced economy, see, there is no, like, it is not like a proper definition, but as per World Bank or even International Monetary Fund, most of the established international agencies, if you see, an advanced economy is one which has a high per capita income. What is high per capita income? Total GDP divided by the population. Okay, high per capita income they have. High service and industrial output. That is, their service sector and industrial sector will be doing incredibly well. And they will be having low agriculture. Low agriculture means exposure to agriculture. That is, the number of people who are employed in agricultural sector will be actually low. Very true, especially if you look into the case of USA as well as most of the European countries. Agricultural economy is actually very, very low. Or agriculture share in economy is actually very low. Contrast that with India. India, more than 50% of the population, if you actually see, they are exposed to the agricultural sector. Clear, people? This is the idea. Then, inflation in advanced economies in 2025 remained about 40 basis points, that is 0.4%, higher than initial projections, while inflation in emerging market and developing economies declined further. This is the most important point here. Emerging market and developing economies, that is countries which are slowly coming out of their exposure to agricultural sector and they are getting more into industries and manufacturing and service sector. So there, inflation actually declined further. My question to you then, okay, please answer it. Right monetary policy, Rakesh, Arun. A. Neha is telling A. Archana, contractionary policy or tight monetary policy? A. C. Motion, B. Samarth, B. C. I am pretty shocked with the answers. D is impossible as interest and salaries are promises of government. Okay, agreed. Shivi Sharma, tight monetary policy. Did you read the question, by the way? Everybody out there? When inflation declines means what? Inflation is lowering. So when inflation is coming down, central bank will follow tight monetary policy or accommodative monetary policy. First question. Second question. When inflation declines, central bank will adopt increased loan given to private companies. Where have you read central bank giving loan to private companies? Central bank's only job is monetary policy. Central bank does not give away loans either to private individuals or private companies. They may maintain the government accounts, center, state. This statement is entirely wrong. Controls government's revenue expenditure. Central bank has got nothing to do with controlling government expenditure. Central bank has no role there. C and D are absolutely wrong. So many of you actually gave this as the answer. On what basis have you given this? Inflation goes down. Why will you follow a tight monetary policy? For what joy? Already the inflation is very low. So you tighten it further means what will happen? Interest rates will go up. Accommodative stance, you misread the question, but that is the point. You have just marked the question which you knew to be correct. You knew this. But you did not apply your logic. You jumped to a conclusion earlier and Mufat mein you ended up getting -2/3. Getting a negative mark over a question which you marked just out of guesswork, still okay. You knew this and ended up marking it wrong. A sure shot question. This is actually the easy category. Got the point here. So this is the logic. This is the point here. This is how people make mistakes. This is how, because I saw majority, a good majority had marked it as a good majority. Everybody, tight kar do. Got the point here. Economics, when you get, not just economics, any question you get, for the love of God, read the paper. Moving on. Stress in the property. Now, China continue to face deflationary pressures. Now, China is facing deflation. Why? Stress in the property sector. Now, China's case is pretty interesting. In China, real estate demand has gone down. Properties are lying unsold. Affecting other sectors. But still Chinese economy has not actually gone down. Why? Because China's growth is like one, I would say it, something that invokes jealousy. Because China has like a twin advantage, I would say. One is what we call internal demand driven growth. What is the main crux of it? Population. You have a huge population in your country. You don't have to worry about selling any product in the international market. You can sell any product inside your country and still be happy about it. That is one way. Second way is what? Second thing is export driven. It is one country which is highly export driven. Why? Thanks to its superior manufacturing base plus technology plus low labor cost. The combined effect of which has made Chinese products cheaper compared to any other product in the world. So, if this is not working for China, if internal demand driven growth is not working for China because of poor real estate market, then China won't be affected for the simple reason that China has its export sector to depend upon. That is the reality. Got the point here? Taking it further forward. Monetary policy. Now, the question what I asked, globally, monetary policy continued transitioning from aggressive tightening towards neutral or accommodative stances. This was the question that I asked. Why? When inflation comes down, what does it mean? Always along with growth. When growth is there, what does it mean? Whenever growth is there, it indicates what? There is demand. And wherever you have demand, you will also have prices increasing. And when prices increases, you have inflation increasing. And if inflation increases, you will do what? Tightening or contractionary policy. Correct? But the ulta scenario, if inflation is very low, it means prices are going down, demand is going down. So I need to trigger the demand. So trigger the demand means there are only two ways. Monetary policy, fiscal policy. Under monetary policy, what will I do? Reduce the interest rates. Or I will go for, or I will, reducing the interest rate means expansionary policy, or I may not increase it also or not decrease it also, what we call as neutral rate. Got the point here? This is the logic. Clear? In fiscal policy, what can you do? Fiscal policy, you will have to invest on infrastructure and social welfare, both. That discussion we will take it up a little later. Any doubts here, people? Doubts on whatever we discussed so far? Now the next aspect, which I've always been teaching you, I have taught this earlier in a Saturday class, one full economic, but that class itself was an economic class more than a current affair class. I mean, current affairs, but completely economy oriented. There I had clearly mentioned a couple of things. That is, inflation is low. So RBI will follow expansion or accommodation, which means interest rates will go down. Interest rates, when it goes on down, simply means for loans as well as for fixed deposits. For both, it will go down. Not that for one it will go up and the other it will go down. When interest rate reduces in the economy, it reduces everywhere. In such a scenario, people will borrow more. Invest in bonds more. Why they will invest in bonds more? Because it is better to invest in bonds, which will give you better return rather than putting your money where? Money in bank account. Now, when you invest in bonds, what is the next thing that happens? Demand for bonds will increase. When demand for bond increases, price of bonds will increase. When price of bond increases, yield on it decreases. I've explained this already. This relationship, I have explained it in that Saturday class. You can go back there. I don't want to revisit this now because this is not the priority today. This is the nutshell of it. You didn't understand this also. For now, it is okay. For prelims, it is okay. Just understand this inverse relationship. Price of the bond goes up, yield of the bond will decrease. Yield means, simply it means what? Return. By heart this. Got the point? That is what you will do. By heart this. Clear? Moving on. So what has happened? 30-year government bond yields, be it in USA, be it of Japan, be it UK, Germany, Australia, everywhere, for all these countries, the yield increased. Yeah, I have explained this so many times. USA peaked to US bond yield peaked to its 2007 levels. That means it went 18 years back. Japan went back to 1999. UK, Germany, and Australia also faced selling pressure. That means nobody was interested in. Everybody was like, "Arey, bond, who wants bond? Who wants bond?" Like that, they were selling it. Yield has gone up of US bonds, Japanese bonds, UK bonds, German bonds, Australian bonds. Yield has gone up, especially which 30-year long term bonds. It has gone up. Yield has gone up. What does it tell about the price? Vinay, Amjad, Abhijit, Dharani, D. Samarth, Kajal, Anshu, Noorjahan, Manish, Simran, Kamal, Khushi, Vinay, Donald Trump is here. Aha. Donald Trump is telling C. Dipan, Vita, Durgeshwari, Ishita. The answer is obviously none of the above. Rapid selling. See, anything you are selling very rapidly, what does it mean? It does not have high demand. So this is wrong. Price of LT bonds increased. If price is increasing, if a commodity's price is actually increasing, going on increasing, why will I sell it? Think about it. Huh? Why will I sell something if its price is going up? People are selling it because it has a very low demand. It is not going to give you much return. Yield of bonds has reduced. No, yield will actually go up. None of the above is the answer. Rapid selling may not lead to demand. No. Why? Why will it lead to demand? Rapid selling. Rapid selling clearly indicates that there are much better venues for you to invest the money and get return. For example, now then why these countries demand, why it went down? The main reason was because, see, what are bonds generally used for? Bonds are instruments for government as well as corporates. For what? To borrow money from the public and institutions. Government or corporates will borrow it and they will give bonds, public will give money. This is the idea. That is the question now I am asking is, even if it is government who is giving me issuing these bonds, my question is whether you will be able to pay it back. Whether you will pay it back to me. Whether you will be able to do it. Because there are many countries like this. For example, USA itself, if you see, US total debt is what? Stands at $38 trillion. $38 trillion. That is the total debt. So again, US government is telling, take my bond, give your money for me. People will be like, are you mad or what? Why will already you have made such a huge debt? Why will I give you money again? You want to go and attack Greenland. What is the return for you in that? Getting the point here? People have started questioning the government whether you will be able to pay these back. Because that long term, will you be able to pay it back? People have started questioning it. On the other side, what has happened is, then where did the money go? If people did not invest in bonds, where did the money really go to? Believe it or not, it went into USA. Why it went into USA? Because of the various artificial intelligence related investments that were happening there. Be it hardware, be it software, huge amount of money was going in there. USA actually got a huge FDI investment, foreign direct investment, thanks to its AI related investments, whatever they made. Got the point here? Everybody going and investing in USA. This is also the reason why India faced what? Low FII and low FDI. Got the point here? When US economy is doing really well, people will not invest in their bond. People will not invest in anything else. They'll straight away go and invest inside USA, in the US economy. Getting the point here? Yielding Sharma, I thought the same. Yielding if it reduces, that's why they sell. No. Generally, why do people prefer a bond? I will just tell this to you just once and for all. I would prefer a bond when there is nothing to invest in the world. No economic growth is happening. There is no growth is happening. So and the whole world is very unpredictable. Then I will go for a bond. Then only I will go for a bond because I want safety there. But I'm looking for high return means I will go for every other product out there. Every other product other than a bond. So that equation again, I have explained it multiple times. Like I told you 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, there is a Saturday class. Please watch it. Okay, that will explain things to you better. According to World Investment Report 2025 published by UNCTAD. Again, another prelims oriented point right here. Global foreign direct investment flows in 2024 declined by 11% year on year, excluding conduit economies. What are conduit economies? Conduit economies are just like, like intermediary economies, you can call it. Intermediary, why I will tell you. Their only purpose is like money will come in, money will go out. They are just standing there in between. No real economic activity will be happening. These are like your tax havens. Tax havens means if I am routing my money through these economies, maybe Cayman Islands, Panama Islands, Singapore, etc., Mauritius, etc., when I'm routing it through them, I will carry less tax. So what I will do is I will bring that money there. Then from there, I will again take it out. So these countries will actually look as, wow, they are getting so much of investments. But that investment, ground level, when you go and see, nothing would have changed. Everything is looking like the same thing. Same beach, same tourism, everything is the same. That is, the money just comes in and within another 1 week or something, that money will go out. So that is the reason why everywhere, excluding the conduit economies, FDI declined. Capital flows were increasingly shaped by rising demand across artificial intelligence supply chain. While foreign direct investment inflows declined in most developed economies, they increased by 19.7% in the USA. Clear? Among the top 10 highest value greenfield projects means those projects which are started from zero, ground zero. There is no existing building, there is no existing infrastructure. Announced globally in 2024, 4 were in semiconductor manufacturing with 3 located in the USA. Global data center development expanded rapidly, driven by rising digital demand and industrial policy support. Data centers, like I told you, AI, you need to actually what? Saturday class on 20th December. Thank you, Dharani, for that. Thank you so much, Dharani. People, 20th December class. Visit it, revisit it. It is out and out, I would say, a synopsis of economics. Okay. To store AI data. This was done. Clear? Now, economic statecraft. What is economic statecraft? We know there is economic policies, right? Which is a combination of fiscal policy, monetary policy, external policy. That is foreign exchange. That is one thing. What is economic statecraft? Economic statecraft simply means you are using tariffs, that is excise, import duties, etc., to arm twist countries into listening to your geopolitical propaganda or geopolitical ideology. That is basically USA asking India to stop buying oil from Russia by imposing tariff. That is called economic statecraft. Economic statecraft. Why? Because that is the trend now. This is not something which is started now. This has been there even before. Like it was practiced in old Greece, ancient Greece. It was practiced. It has been implicitly mentioned even in Kautilya's Arthashastra. So that is economic statecraft for you. That is, you are using money to actually make countries listen to you. Got the point here? So that is happening. Japan has increased defense spending to 2% of its GDP. Why? Because obviously the China threat. So everywhere if you see, there is a total lack of trust that is happening between the countries today. Tightening immigration policies, not allowing outsiders to enter, trying to encourage more and more domestic growth. We can actually see elements of deglobalization happening around the world. Clear? In addition to that, now other aspect is we know China has actually done what? China has actually kept many restrictions on rare earth elements, which we have discussed again multiple times. China has actually said, no, don't sell this technology, don't sell that, don't sell this. China has its own thing. In addition to this, what China has done is has placed foreign defense and technology firms on unreliable entities list. Unreliable entities list, we don't have it. We have a negative import list. Negative import list simply means come what may, you cannot import it. Come what may, you cannot import it. Case in point being, for example, in the defense sector, especially in the Air Force, you are not supposed to import what? Tires for your aircraft. Tires, you are not supposed to import it. Makes sense, right? MRF is there, Apollo is there, Michelin is there. There are multiple tire companies that are there in our country. What is so great that we have to buy it only from France for Rafale? We can get it sourced from India itself. Getting the point? The specifications you give, they will manufacture and give it to you. As simple as that. That is a negative list. You are not supposed to buy it from outside, come what may. But this is unreliable entities list. Unreliable entities. Why unreliable? Because these firms, it is being said that, in China at least it is being said that, they pose a security risk. Defense and technology. Because technology means they can spy. Defense obviously means they are not reliable. Got the point here? Next point. European Union's carbon border adjustment mechanism. That is the next thing that Europe has done. Why? Europe's idea is, okay, we have kept very, very high standards for our companies. Our iron company, our steel company, they have to maintain the highest standards of environmental credibility. Okay, fine. Therefore, the cost of these iron, steel or any product from Europe will be very, very high. Because it's environmentally as clean as possible. Cheap imports are coming from India, cheap imports are coming from Bangladesh, or cheap imports are coming from Vietnam into European Union. When they did a study, they found out that most of these products are actually destroying the environment because they don't follow any environmental principles. So Europe introduced what? Carbon border adjustment mechanism. That is, to the what levels you are polluting. That is, I am importing, that is, I am European Union, I am buying a product from India. To what levels you are polluting compared to a similar industry in Europe. Equivalent of that, I will put a tax on you. That is the idea. Got the point here? I am going to put a tax on you. Because your carbon footprint is very, very high. By the time you produce this product and you are selling it to European Union, you are releasing this much level of carbon dioxide or carbon into the environment. So to that level, I will charge you. So all these are basically what? Protectionist measures. Protectionist measures means I want to protect my economy, I want to protect my industry, I want to protect my manufacturing units from external competition. Got the point here? The mechanism was rolled out in 2023 and becomes fully effective from 2026. That is from this year. We'll have to wait and watch how this will unfold, especially after we have signed the FTA deal with European Union. Strategic indispensability. That is what? This is the next point. What is strategic indispensability? Arises when an economy provides critical goods or services that are difficult to substitute in global value chains. If India really needs to up its game, the only solution for that is we should have something to offer for which there is no substitute. There is no replacement for it. We should offer it in such a way. For example, medical tourism, when you talk about, what is the main highlight there? Cheap pharmaceutical drugs. Alright. When you are talking about space tourism, what is the main highlight there? We are able to launch foreign satellites into space at rates cheaper than a Hollywood movie. Forget Hollywood movie, even Indian movies. Our ISRO space launches are cheaper than some of the Indian movies in our country. That is the highlight there. So you should be having something to offer for which there is no substitute or replacement. Then you become what? Strategically indispensable. Getting the point here. India has that, which is once again the fact that India has a huge population. The market is there. There is a workforce, unemployed youth is there. They have the necessary skill sets also. So they have almost everything. We have almost everything which the foreigners want. Got the point here? So that is unique for us. And this growth trajectory or this potential what we have, if utilized in the rightful manner, we are going to probably lead ahead in the next 20 years. Clear? All right. Moving on. Now these are basically real growth year on year percentage. They would have given you all this. Your main job is to, okay, this is like first H1 financial year 25 first half. This is financial 2026. You have to basically see what has happened, whether it is increasing or decreasing. In the case, in this entire list, when I see, I observe that mining and quarrying, that is one thing which has got a negative value, which is very, very true. India's mining sector has not picked up much. Mining is very, very poor. And when somebody has mentioning in the YouTube comment section also, so we should focus more on manufacturing rather than on service. Manufacturing or industries, when you talk about, it's building block or building base is what? Mining. Either you should mine for metallic minerals or you should mine for non-metallic. The other aspect of manufacturing is what? Okay, textile sector, which we are more or less doing well. Not a big deal. But any other manufacturing that you talk about, whether you talk about, okay, critical components for a particular machinery or a critical component for defense, etc., that is metal. Correct? That will be metal. Either it will be titanium, iron, nickel, what is it? Alloy. For all this, you need what? You need to do mining. But mining is very low. When mining is low, definitely industrial sector, manufacturing, etc., will not shoot up or rise up rapidly, where they will be able to absorb the unemployed people in the country and provide them with work. Got the point here? So the value is what you need to look for. The next thing is what? GV8 basic prices. GV8 basic prices, it is not necessary that you need to know this, but you should know what is the definition of GVA at basic prices. How is it related to? Then what about market prices? GV at market prices. How is GDP calculated using GV at basic prices? That basic stuff again, basic things again, that you will have to revise. Got the point here? Moving on. Then each thing. Private final consumption expenditure, government final consumption expenditure, gross fixed capital formation. Again, has it been increasing or decreasing? Just check out the values. Share as a percentage of nominal GDP, if you see, agriculture, livestock, forestry and fishing, always it has shuttle serviced between what? 14 percentage to 14, 15, between, okay, 13 to 16 percentage. That is where the value stands. Industry 24, 24, 24. So industry at 24 percentage. Services between 49 to 53 percentage. That is where things lie. Okay, what do you mean by nominal GDP? Nominal GDP means, I have told you, nominal, always the easiest way to remember is now. Now means at current prices, not adjusted for inflation. What is real GDP? It is adjusted for inflation. So revise this portion also, people. Growth in PFCE highest since first half of financial year 2024. Okay, this is like the various financial 2024. What is it? Increasing, decreasing, whatever. Now there again, if you see, there is no clear pattern. That means private final consumption expenditure in the last 5 years. Private final consumption expenditure. It is not steadily increasing nor it is steadily declining. There is no trend only. Average growth of PFCE, if you see, it stands at 6.9. This orange line. Average growth it is 6.9 percentage. Share of PFC in GDP shifts to higher level. This again, if you see, as you can see, up, down, up, down, up, down. So nothing steady about it. Very correct, Kamalesh. Clear. This graph again, what you will do is, now again, this is all for quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3. So quarter 1, quarter 2, it was almost steady. Quarter 3, it dropped. FMCG, fast moving consumer goods. 4.6, it increased 5.6. Quarter 3, we don't have the data. Passenger vehicle sales, quarter 2, it dropped, then it increased. Domestic air passenger dropped, increased. So again, no clear trend anywhere. Maybe other than that, maybe here. Only here we can see growth is happening. Two-wheeler vehicle sales, three-wheeler vehicle sales, that too in rural areas. That has gone up. External demand also supported growth with exports accounting for 21.6% of GDP. You can use it in your mains answer. That is the main highlight here. Alright. You can use it in your mains answer. Otherwise also remember this 21.6. Exports of goods and services exceeded both last year's growth and the pre-pandemic average. This point is very, very important. You can expect it as a prelims question. Because generally what people would have expected is, okay, tariff USA has imposed, so our exports would have declined. No. Exports of goods and services exceeded last year's growth as well as pre-pandemic average. What was the growth before pandemic? That had increased. Imagine if Trump comes back to his senses and decides to sign an FTA with India. Imagine what will happen to the exports of our country. It will go to another level. Got the point here? Non-food bank credit. What do you mean by non-food bank credit? See, FCI, Food Corporation of India, even they will borrow money to distribute food, whatever, distribution, storage, accumulation, etc. That credit, whatever FCI, Food Corporation of India will borrow, that won't come under this. Except that, whatever FCI would have borrowed, except that borrowing, whatever other borrowings happens in the economy, that comes under non-food bank credit. Whatever other borrowings are there. And that is a very good indicator of what? Very good indicator of where the economy is headed. Where the economy is headed. IIP capital goods, 9.8, 5.6, 6.2. Like you can see, slight decrease, then increase. Capital goods imports. Capital goods imports. Let us see what is its definition, because sometimes economic survey itself will give the definition. Let us see. Capital goods imports are defined as the aggregate. Aggregate means total of imports of electric machinery and equipment, base metals excluding iron and steel. Base metals excluding iron and steel. Now why is that? Why iron and steel are excluded from it? Can anybody tell me? Iron and steel, why that is excluded? This is a live class. Pratap, yes, this is a live class. Core. Nothing to do with core and all. It is simple funda. See, iron and steel, basically, iron and steel as such, if I buy it and keep, it is not going to give me any return. What do you mean by capital goods? Capital goods are those goods which is going to give you a return, which is into production, which produces something, helps in producing something, or give some return. Iron and steel, just if I hold it in my hand, it is of no use. You have to convert it into something else. You can call it as a basic good. Basic good it is. You need it as a building block for your industries. You make an industry with iron, machinery with iron, then it makes sense. Got the point? Industrial machinery, including machinery for dairy and allied uses, machine tools, other construction machinery, project goods, and transport equipment. That is also true, what you said. Except iron and steel, that is the second answer to it. The second answer is what? Iron and steel, we don't actually promote its import. We want to encourage the domestic industry. Got the point here? Iron and steel, we have it in our country. Why are we buying it again from outside? Got the point? Iron and steel, hold it in your hand, it is of no value. You make something with it, or I convert it into something useful. Iron, I made it a screw. Now it is an intermediate good. Good. Now I can use it. Hold it in my hand, it is of no use. Number one. Number two, it is what? I have to encourage domestic industries here. So for domestic manufacturing or domestic iron and domestic steel, if I have to encourage, I need to stop what? Import of iron and steel. Clear? Very good. Who said that? Basic raw material. Mahi Saha. Export growth sustains above pre-pandemic levels. Average growth for 16 to 20, it is 2.5. What is the growth in financial year 2020, 25-26? 5.9. Export of goods and services, again, if you see, it is like there is no trend as such. From financial year 12 to 26, if you see, it is going up, 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 then down, 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 up, up, up. Now, note this, people. Pandemic era also, we were exporting quite well. Okay. Financial year 21, 22 till 23. We were actually doing a pretty decent job. Alright. Moving on. Third quarter data show some moderation due to high base. High base. Question for you people. Consider following statements regarding the base effect in economic data analysis. The base effect refers to the impact of the previous period's unusually high or low level of a variable on the current period's growth rate. A low base in the previous year can result in a high year-on-year growth rate even if the absolute increase is modest. The base effect is relevant only for inflation calculation and not for growth rates of gross domestic product. A high base effect can sometimes mask underlying economic weakness or exaggerate economic recovery. Which of the statements given above are correct? 1 and 2, 1, 2 and 4, 2 and 3, 1, 2, 3 and 4. Who said that? Prashant, Shalini, Simran. Krish. Chousing Tamanau. Chousing Tamanau. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. Sindhu, Pradhiri, Sunanda, Ishika, Archana, Khushi, Abhinaya, Anshu, Gauri, Sangeeta, Sachu, Vaiti, Shakira, Dev, Gauri, Deva. Deva, your answer is wrong. Mushin, your answer is also wrong. Sangeet, Shrin, Khush, Keshav, Praveen B. Pillai, Aryan, Krishnika, okay. Aditya, you got it wrong. Base effect refers to the impact of the previous period's unusually high or low level of a variable on the current period's growth rate. Statement is absolutely correct. Base effect simply means my reference year. If that reference year value was very, very high, then this year my value will be very low. Reference year the value was very low means my performance will look very, very high. So first statement is correct. First statement is there in A, B and D. That means I can easily eliminate C. A low base in the previous year can result in a high year-on-year growth rate even if the absolute increase is modest. Again true. Very low, that is this year's increase, if you see, it is very less only. But because the last year value was so low, this year the growth when you see, it will be very, very high. Base effect is relevant only for inflation. Now let me tell you, even if I will not actually suggest you this, but let me tell you worst to worst case scenario. Base effect is something which is seen in every sector that we calculate. Let it be GDP, let it be index of industrial production, let it be inflation, let it be GST, let it be income tax, any growth that you are talking about. If I am comparing it with the, growth, how do you calculate? You compare it with the previous value. Correct? Growth or what is it? Deceleration, that is no growth. Whether it is growing or it is declining. All of this is based on what? The previous year value it is. And this you can see in every sector, every calculation you will find this. So, you get a topic, you get a question where you are actually confused. Look out for this. Look out for this. Now, if you don't at all know what is base effect means, what is the next best thing to do? Skip the question is what I would suggest. Skip the question. If you don't have any clue about this. Because it is not just for inflation, it is there for everything in economics that you calculate. That is why generally when any article that comes in the Hindu paper or any standard paper for that matter, the high increase is largely due to base effect. There will be one line, one dialogue will be there like this. One sentence will be there. That is, if there's too much of growth, Hindu will be like, it is largely due to base effect. Means what? Last year the value was very, very small. But this year it will look as if it is very, very high. The growth will look high. That's the point. Or base effect, when government will sometimes, it is largely because of the base effect. Means what? Last year it was high growth. Compared to that, when you see this year it did not grow. Compared to that, this year if you see, it did not grow. But this year also we have grown. If I don't compare, individually I have grown. But if I start comparing myself with somebody else, it is base effect. Tony Stark, this is not that session. This is for economic survey. Alright, that I have told earlier multiple times. Multiple videos are there. Please go watch it. Not today. Today it is entirely for economic survey. Stop spamming the chat section. Agricultural growth improves but remains below the long-term average. Average growth is how much? 4.5. What was the current year? 3.6. So current year it was lower than that. Volatile crop growth offset by stable expansion in allied activities. What is crop growth? Look at this. From financial year 13, if you see, it is going dinga dinga, dinga dinga, dinga dinga, dinga. That is how it is going. That means no trust here. Why? Simple logic. Monsoon dependent, global warming, climate change. Got the point. That is why crops highly unpredictable. But to some extent, we were able to stabilize it. This unpredictability, we were able to somewhere stabilize it just for, what is it? Just for what? Because of livestock. That is the other associated activities. Clear? Moving on. Growth in manufacturing GVA deflator has remained moderate. Agriculture, forestry and fishing over here. Services below that. Manufacturing, you see, very moderate it is. Share of manufacturing remains stable in real terms. Real term means each year on year, if you see, adjusting for inflation, if you see, it is almost like within a certain level only. Got the point? It is at a certain level only. It is neither going up also, it is neither going down. All right. Next point. Trade, hospitality, transport and all service subsectors grew about 9% except trade, hospitality, transport and communication services, which remained 50 basis points below the pre-pandemic levels. That means these four has not grown much. Not at all surprising. Trade is not increasing much. Obviously, other than spending on food and essentials, people are not spending much on any other products as such. Trade is a little low. Then hospitality, tourism, domestic or foreign you talk about has not really picked up. Transport and communication, obviously if people are traveling less, transportation also will carry less cost, involve less cost. Communication services also. Again, transport, one more reason is there. If you take Bangalore, etc., the cost of transport has gone up to such a level, such high levels where people are using either public transport or they are using private vehicles. Communication services, again, not at all surprising. People are barely using, like everybody today when I inquire, they are all have kept what? Wi-Fi in their home. That is cheaper rather than having mobile data. Mobile they have only kept, they will do the basic level recharge and they will keep it. That is the reason why Jio, Airtel or Vodafone India, if you see, they are going on increasing the rates. Again, they will increase the rates. Hospitality, again, the entire thing, what is it? Restaurant, hotel industry, everything put together. Not hospital. Hospitality is different. Hospitals are different. That is medical. All right. Strengthening India's national statistical system from data generation to data readiness. Now, this section is strictly for prelims purpose. New updates, that is, annual survey of incorporated service sector enterprise will commence from April 2026, will provide systematic coverage of the incorporated services sector for the first time, complementing the annual survey of unincorporated sector enterprises. Now, what is this incorporated service sector enterprises? Incorporated service sector enterprises means those enterprises which have registered themselves with the Companies Act. They are registered companies giving services. That will be held now. This annual survey will be done so that we know, and at all that data will be kept digitally. So that clearly we know how many companies are there, providing what type of service, what is their revenue, what is their exact data. Ulta is what? Annual survey of unincorporated service sector enterprises. This largely means what? The informal service sector. That also survey we are going to do, and we are going to keep the data. This will actually help in what? This will actually help in data readiness. Data readiness. Now we will have authentic data always. Taking it further forward. So sectoral growth. Okay. First half of financial year 16 to 20, 5.2. This is like constant growth. Which one? Industry. Fine. Slowly it is growing. Manufacturing dip and up. Electricity, gas, water supply and other utility services has actually gone down. Construction went up, again went down. Mining, we have literally what? Going into the negative territory. So continuous growth, if you see some industrial activity, we can see here. Industrial activity alone. The rest of it is actually decline and increase. Manufacturing has also gone up. All these are comparative basis. Compared to the previous year, how it was. So each compared to the previous year, slight growth everywhere. This, but mining and quarrying compared to the earlier years, drop down. Clear? Again, the same thing that I told you. Is it continuously increasing or continuously decreasing? That is what you have to see here. E-way bill generation, IIP, 8 core industries, purchasing managers index for manufacturing. All this will clearly tell us in which direction economy is moving, whether there is any economic activity or not. Then you have construction, steel consumption, cement production, and IIP for infra or construction goods. Just see whether it is increasing or decreasing. That is the only job you have here. Same thing again here. PMI services, port traffic, air cargo, railway freight traffic, hotel occupancy rate. This is your answer. Who is it that? Hospitality services you were asking, right? Hotel occupancy rate. Are people occupying more hotels or not? Decline, see, new connections being built were very, very less. If you notice again, electricity, gas, water supply, and whatever utility services we talk about, it is largely the contribution of the government there. Fresh investments, what is happening in the energy sector? Energy sector, be it electricity or gas, or even for that matter, water. What fresh investments are happening year on year? Where is it happening? Who is doing it? Is it even a mudda during election? Water issue, we are already seeing it in Indore. We are seeing it in Rajasthan. We are seeing even it in UP. We are seeing it in Chennai. We are seeing it in Bangalore. Correct? What efforts are being made? You think about it. Roads also, utility service, okay, other utility services. So, gas, water supply. So, those, what investments are happening there? Who is contributing there? If government doesn't contribute, the contribution from private sector is also very bare, minimal it is. Got the point here? Is it that a new pipeline they are constructing which will ensure water for all? That's the point. Existing systems itself, they are not maintaining it properly. Rusted pipes, leaking pipes, wastage of water. Same thing goes for electricity. And this is only for the first half of financial 26, because later we'll have to see now, because electricity now, what we have noticed is the distribution companies have started registering profit. So we'll have to wait for the full report to come out, final thing to come out. But otherwise, it is not actually picking up. That is the bottom line. All India Debt and Investment Survey 26-27, which will cover household asset ownership and indebtedness across rural and urban areas. That means how much amount of loan is there. What is it? All India Debt and Investment Survey. This is for households, both rural and urban area. How much assets do they own? How much loans do they have? And support analysis of credit markets and asset inequality. Credit markets, how much loan they have taken, and how much, to what level asset inequalities are there for a rural household compared to an urban household. Correct. The situation assessment survey on rural agriculture households 26-27 will cover income, production, indebtedness, technology adoption, and access to government schemes. Where in rural agricultural households, income, production, indebtedness, that is again how much loan, what sort of technology adoption they are using, and to what extent they are having access to government schemes. Getting the point here? We are basically seeing what we are basically now going to get a ground level report of the reality that is there in rural households and urban households. Clear? A dedicated household income survey is tentatively planned for 2026. The forward-looking capital expenditure survey provides information on expected enterprise investments over 2 successive financial years. Forward-looking, that is forward-looking means for the next 2 years, how much investment will any corporate or will any company make. This will give us an idea about the projected growth or investments that may happen in the next 2 years. Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation has digitized survey operations using computer-assisted personal interviewing integrated with eSigma platform, enabling real-time validation, monitoring, geotagging, and faster processing. National accounts are being rebased to 22-23. That is the base here is going to be changed. Index of industrial production is being rebased to 22-23. CPI is being rebased to 2024. Note the change, people. National accounts 22-23. IIP 22-23. CPI 2024. Clear? A digital first dissemination ecosystem has been created with the Sankhiki portal, providing access to over 770 indicators across 80 statistical products and around 136 million records sourced from MOSPI, RBI, and other ministries through dashboards, application program, interfaces, and customized download. Sankhiki, that is a Sankhya number, data that can be accessed from Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation, RBI, other ministries, basically from anywhere and everywhere. One portal where all the data will be accumulated. Clear? Moving on. eSigma is an online data dissemination platform developed by MOSPI. Provides easy public access to official statistical data collected through major government surveys. Now, here, this one point. Microdata portal provides structured access to unit level data from 177 national surveys. Following international metadata standards, while mobile access through Government of India Stats, GOI Stats application and platforms such as Paimana support wider use and monitoring of public projects. What is Paimana? Project assessment, infrastructure monitoring and analytics for nation building. That is what its expansion is. What is it used for? To track down, to keep a track of all those infrastructure projects of the central government that are worth more than 150 crore. Real time it will tell where the project is lying. You remember again in the class I have told you, in our comprehensive batch I have told you about this Bangalore-Mysore corridor, which was delayed by more than 20 years. That project, BMIC corridor, more than 20 years it was left pending. In 20 years, how many kilometers have got constructed? Less than 1 kilometer. 20 years delay. Can't say na it was Congress, this was BJP, nothing. Both are guilty in this. I'm talking about the state government here. Both of them are guilty in delaying the project, so much so that High Court told, why don't you scrap the whole thing? Enough is enough. High Court of Karnataka. So central government, what are they doing now? They are basically telling, let us keep a track of all the projects in the country, especially if they are more than 150 crore worth in asset. Clear? Moving on. Assessment. And again, one word of advice to all the PubAd students out there. This is all PubAd point. You can call it easily NPM. I'll just write it here. This is just for my PubAd students. Example of NPM plus NPS plus e-governance, anything you want to call it, plus digital governance. Transparency example of accountability. Anywhere you can use this. All right. Assessment of domestic macroeconomic fundamentals. Okay. Inflation as of now in our country is at a very low level according to the data given by RBI. RBI is telling that inflation is very low. Oh, great. Oh, sorry. Minister of MOSPI is telling inflation is very low. Consumer price index is very low. Happy, everybody is happy. But ground level, when you ask, when RBI conducted a expected inflation survey, experienced inflation, what Indians actually answered was that it is 6.6%. Official data says that inflation is at 1%, 1.33. Okay. Inflation is at 1.33. That is why everybody is like, hey, we have reduced inflation. Then why is it that people are not spending? If inflation is really less, that means people should be having, I should be having more money with me. I should be able to buy whatever I want. Not exactly. Because the reality is expected inflation or experienced inflation is very high. Rent has gone up. Transportation costs have gone up. Correct. Public transport system you talk about, otherwise any form of transport you talk about, it has literally become very, very expensive. Yes, very correct, Vinay. Healthcare is also shooting up. Getting the point here. So this is the whole concept here. So now that is the reason why they are changing the CPI's base year, etc., so that we have accurate data. Apart from this, then what is driving inflation? If inflation is really low, what is driving inflation is global base metal prices. That is going up. That can have an impact on inflation. Clear? Then effective capital expenditure. What is this effective capital expenditure? See, central government gives grants to states. The grants given by central government actually comes under revenue expenditure, because this is like given almost like every year, recurring it is, every year it is given. It is given to states. But states will not take all that money and, udi jai, they won't do that. They will not actually, money, they won't do that. Some amount of that money, whatever they are getting as grant, that goes into the states, that will definitely go into what? Infrastructure or any other form of capital investments. Correct. So, effective capital expenditure keeps a tag of that also. Keeps a track of that also. Okay, this much money, whatever we are giving states, some portion of it is going into what? Is going into capital expenditure. Increased from 2.6% of gross GDP to 4% over the same period. Which period? From 2019-20 to 2024-25. During this period. That means during a 5-year period, from 2.6% on infrastructure, GDP has gone up. Effective capital expenditure has gone up. Once again, declining sovereign 10-year yield spread over US bonds indicates lower risk premium. That is, if I were to put a straight line here from this, what is happening? Yield is going on declining. Over a 10-year period, declining sovereign 10-year yield spread over US bonds indicates lower risk premium. Yield is going on declining. Yield is declining means price is very, very high. Price is very, very high on an average means what? So somebody had asked me a question, will de-dollarization happen? This is your answer right here. When you look at it, it may look okay, US bonds, 30-year-old bonds, yield has gone down. That is this year when you see. But in a 10-year, when you want to study something, when you want to predict something, you look things over a larger perspective. When you look it over a larger perspective, what are you seeing? This 10-year bonds, 10-year bonds, 10-year bond means that is the duration. After 10 years, it will become matured. For that, when you see, trust is still there. Trust is still there in the US economy. Got the point here? Clear? Basically, and then durable liquidity was injected through cash reserve ratio cuts of 2.5 lakh crore, open market operations of 6.95 lakh crore, foreign exchange swaps of about US dollar. So durable liquidity through cash reserve ratio cuts. Cash reserve ratio cuts means what? How much amount of cash you have to park it with the RBI. That has been reduced means banks will have more money. Open market operations. Open market operations means buying or selling of bonds. Again to what is it? Bring changes to the liquidity. Foreign exchange swaps. Again it is done to get access to foreign currencies without the vagaries of exchange rate fluctuations. 3 terms which you are going to do research on today. Okay, because it is there. That means you are going to do the entire monetary policy. Revise it. Repo rate, reverse repo rate, marginal standing facility, liquidity adjustment facility, open market operation, cash reserve ratio, market stabilization scheme, the whole drill you are going to do. Clear? Weighted average lending rate on fresh rupee loans declining by 59 basis points. What do you mean by weighted average lending rate? Lending rate means what? Lending rate. Lending rate means loan rate. Correct. Average loan rate means what? There is a loan rate for bike loan. There is an interest rate for it. Personal loan, there is another interest. Corporate loan interest rate will be different. Correct. Housing loan, it is different. And what is that? Is average lending rate. Then what is weighted? Weighted means what? For a bank, for what they will give more weightage? It will be the corporate loan, business loans, because there is always a chance that this will go kaput. Personal loans, they don't fear much. You know why? Personal loans, people return it. The returning, what is there? That is, if I take a personal loan, there is a more than 95% chance that I will pay it back. Because I'm salaried employee. I'm scared. I'm not Vijay Mallya or Nirav Modi to actually take the loan, then go abroad, then sit and have a beer or alcohol and then say, you know, they are treating me like a fugitive. That dialogue I cannot say. I'm scared. I'll pay it back. Banks will also know, they will pay it. They are middle class. They are scared of us. But the rich businessmen and the corporates, it will be a different weightage for it. Clear? Banking sectors, so declining by 59 basis points and on outstanding loans by 69 basis points between February and November means what? Monetary transmission was effective. They passed on the loan very, very effectively. That is the point. They passed the loan very effectively. Not the loan. RBI cut the policy rate. So banks also, they also cut the rate. Reduce the interest rate. Banking sector strengthened further with gross non-performing asset ratio declining to multi-decade low of 2.2%. Multi-decade low means 20 years. And the half-yearly slippage ratio remaining stable at 0.7%. So, you are going to do what is slippage ratio, what is non-performing asset. The entire thing, bankruptcy and insolvency code. Everything you're going to do, that whole topic. None of this, if you actually notice, are new topics. These are there since the last 20 years, to be very honest. But you can get a question now. Start with a simple definition first. BBB plus etc. are the ratings given. Ratings given. Now, why we had an improvement in our rating, that I will tell you a little later. Okay, not now. That is when I will tell it to you. Year-on-year growth in outstanding non-food credit remained unreasonably stable at about 11.4%. Large corporates increasingly relied on market-based instruments and internal accruals, reducing dependence on bank credit. Means what? Corporates actually did not rely much on taking loans from their banks. They instead went for share options, borrowing from the market, issuing the bonds, or maybe even utilizing their own money, their profit, whatever they had, reinvesting it back. Got the point here? Sectoral deployment of credit by scheduled commercial banks. Observe people. Here also, if you see personal loan, August, November 2020, personal loan, yellow color. Below that, the service sector. Below that, non-fund credit. Below that, the industry. That means industry is the lowest in this. If you notice the blue color. No surprises. Industrial growth is also less. People are not taking loan to set up industries, but people are very happy to take personal loan. I know people just with, let us say, 30,000 or 40,000 rupees salary have went and purchased 5 lakh, 6 lakh watch. 50,000 rupees salary means you must understand annual salary is 6 lakh. You go and buy a watch on credit card. Swipe your credit card, keep the EMI for 5 years. You'll pay 6 lakh in 5 years. That is the deal. Getting the point here. Easily around, what is it? Maybe not 1/3, but yeah, maybe 10k at least. 10k of their salary. 10-12k keeps going every month. 1/5 of their salary. Just for a watch. People are happy for it. But people are not at all happy to take loan for industries. Because what is the main reason? Getting environmental clearances. Is a huge issue here. Even now that discussion is going on. You remember, there was a Supreme Court verdict which said that environmental clearances issued post the project is complete is not valid. Remember that? If a project has received, that is ideally environmental clearance is supposed to be taken before I set up my industry or any project. Okay, that is what Supreme Court said. Later a verdict finally came, what they found out that there were so many projects in this country which had received environmental clearance after it was over. Because the case took many years for Supreme Court to finally take a decision, so people were also confused. What should I do? When there is no clarity with the law, when there is no clarity with regard to the when will judiciary give a verdict? This is the end result. Got the point here? This is how you connect. When there is uncertainty in policy, this is the result you get. Clear? Overall flow of financial resources to commercial sector in India from non-bank sources. Up, down, up, down, up, down. No clear trend. Current account balance remains stable. Current account balance means especially to do with regard to our import and export. In that, if you see, merchandise trade balance, that means goods. Trade balance, if you see, it is all in the negative. From financial 24 to 26. Services trade balance, that is all in the positive. Because service sector, nobody can defeat us. We are the lead there. Correct? We are offering cheap services. Then net private transfers, that is basically what it is talking about is remittances. Clear? So as a percentage of GDP, if you see, current account balance, mostly it has remained in the negative territory. It went up again slightly here, but afterwards it started declining. All right. I already answered that question. Economic survey, if you understand in 1 year what it was about, the next year you won't have to sit in my class. You can read and you will understand by yourself. These are the terms, these are the data. It is the same stuff. Once you read it properly, that's the point. Taking it further forward, widening merchandise trade deficit was offset by a higher services trade surplus and strong remittance inflow. That means even though merchandise is always in the negative, what is counterbalancing it? You see minus close to minus 60 here, but what is close to plus 60 here? Service sector, private transfer. These are the two things. That means the Indian labor class, that is the ones who will sit and work in the corporate night shift, that plus the Indians again who are working abroad, USA, Europe, North America, Europe, Australia, Southeast Asian nations, they are all sending money home. These two sectors are counterbalancing it. Money what you send home, that is what it means, remittance. Mohit, when are you giving your attempt? And I asked you a question the other day also. How old are you? Others, where is the space for it? Where is the space? You set up a smallest industry, small industry you want to set up, you need at least 250 acres minimum. Buffer zone, industrial zone, environmental clearances, all of that. India, wherever you see, it is an ecologically sensitive zone. Anywhere you see, where you will go and set it up. There are not many places there. And the places where you can set it up, which is far away from civilization, there you don't have electricity, there you don't have road connectivity, nothing is there. Why will anybody come and set up the industries there? See, the people who are actually focused and worried about, okay, India's industrial sector, India's that sector, this sector, they will not go for voting. You, me, everyone. Everyone are included in this. The ones who actually go for voting, who are the ones who will basically ask, where is my freebie? Freebie de do mujhe. They don't care. They are not at all worried about the electricity. They are not worried about infrastructure. They are not worried about connectivity. For them, it is like, what and all will I get for free if I vote for this particular political party? Getting the point here. The people who are actually sitting right in this country is talking fluent English, etc. They don't go and join. They are not a voting bank. They are not a vote bank. The vote bank is unfortunately the bottom section of the population. For them, little something if they get, they are satisfied with it. 20 years. So one more year is there for you. Remittances exceeded gross foreign FDI inflows in most years, underscoring their role as a key external funding source. So imagine remittances increasing, exceeding even FDI. One point of time, remittances that was coming into India stood at $100 billion in a year. $100 billion. Get the point. Current account deficit remained moderate at 0.8% of GDP in the first half of financial year 25-26. FPI, net outflow of USD 3.9 billion compared to net inflow of US dollar 10.6 billion a year earlier. That means FIIs are going out, which I have already covered in our current affairs class. I have told you very clearly, there are more and more foreign investors, they are actually going out. But this is not affected the share market. They are like, whoever wants can leave. I don't care because I have my DIIs here. Domestic institutional investments or domestic investors. Every month, the number of people who are entering into the share market or stock market has gone up. Now, I don't know what will be the scenario for the next couple of months because of the gold prices. Now, again, somebody has been asking me, sir, will gold crash? Gold crash. All these are just temporary. Gold crash and all what you talk, when the day when, now what is the price? 1 gram, I 18,000, 20,000, I'm not sure, whatever. So let us say 1 gram is around 18,000, let us say. The day when 1 gram comes down to maybe 8,000, then I will agree prices have crashed. But even then what will happen? The moment it crashes, Indians will rush to the gold shop. Indians will rush. So normally because I'm married, I take my wife to the jewelry shop. Normally when you go there, very less people will be there. Whoever are there, they are basically there. They would have brought their old gold. I mean gold. Old one means what is their mother gave, somebody gave. Or whatever has come as gifts to their children. They'll bring it. They'll give it to the jewelry shop. They will melt it. They will find the raw gold there. They will say this much is the value. For that price, they will buy, that day's price, they will buy from where? Whatever latest design is there. Very few people actually spend money from their pocket and buy gold these days. Okay. During the Republic Day, Malabar Gold came out with an offer. 30% reduction in making charge. 30% discount. Satyanash. Republic Day became, what is it? My colonial day. Because we went there and my wife was like, I've decided to buy something. I was like, go ahead, buy. Because the reason why I have decided to buy the gold again, even by taking personal loan, is that whatever gold we bought like that, using personal loan, credit card, whatever, converting it into EMI and whatever, that is far more worth in value today than the entire loan amount or the EMI what we had to pay. Got the picture here? Gold prices shooting up and skyrocketing has actually led to what? Silver prices also skyrocketing. So people who are not able to purchase gold, they are settling down today by purchasing silver. That is the point. 1,78,000 to 1,61,000. Very little only. Clear? Indian rupee depreciated by 6.5 percentage. Balance of payment recorded a deficit of $6.4 billion, financed by a drawdown of foreign exchange reserve. Drawdown means whenever too much of deficit is coming, what do? We take money from our forex reserve and pay it. That is what we do. But this time, very limited only RBI did that. Normally what we do is whenever dollar demand is going up, we will be like, okay, take something from forex reserve and put it into the market. Go, give it to them. That is what we do. This time we were like, whatever has to happen, let it happen. We are not going to touch the rupee. Rupee came down, crossed 91. Now probably it will touch, probably, I'm not sure, probably it may touch 100. Because all the FTAs, whatever we have signed now, it is not that from this year onwards we'll start seeing the results. But we can expect, because I am expecting again in the budget, again some, reforms will be made, which will put more money into the hands of the people. And when Indians have more money in their hands, only one thing is guaranteed, they are going to invest in gold again. That is for sure. Proliferation of immigration controls in destination countries could cap future remittance growth. What does this mean? The more immigrant controls are there, immigration control, no, we don't want Indians here. USA has decided, Europe is also deciding. What will happen? Very few Indians settling abroad, very few Indians only will send money home. So one of the major source of remittance will come down. Declining unemployment and a stabilizing labor force participation rate. Thanks to the labor code laws, etc., what has happened is formal employment has gone up. Labor force participation rate is slowly rising. Unemployment rate, if you notice, it is slowly coming down. Poverty line. World Bank has revised the poverty line. Now extreme poverty is defined at $3 per day. That is extreme levels of poverty. Extreme levels of poverty simply means that person cannot afford food, clothing and shelter. $3 but adjusted for purchasing power parity. That means it is 60 rupees. People who live on 60 rupees per day. $3 if you actually convert it into the exchange rate, this will come to more than 270. That is not how we calculate, because that is exchange rate value. We have to see ground level $3, what can it purchase really in India? That is 60, it is as good as 60 rupees in India. $3 of USA is almost like 60 rupees in India. Similarly, estimated at 5.3% for extreme poverty, 23.9% for lower middle income poverty. Lower middle income poverty means what? People who are living at 84 rupees per day. Clear? India's capital stock grew. Capital stock means overall investments in infrastructure, machinery, electrical components, all of that. KLEMS estimates. KLEMS estimates that K stands for capital, L stands for labor, E stands for energy, M stands for manufacturing, S stands for services. Who prepares it? RBI. And it will basically calculate how much amount of people are in each sector. Agriculture, highest, followed by service sector. After that you have industries. Industries means, in this industries you have including construction. That is KLEMS estimates. Alright. Yes, you can ask your doubts in the chat section only. Where can I ask my doubt? Wherever you asked that question. Whatever I have not underlined, it is general stuff. You can read it if you want. Even if you don't read it, you are not going to lose out on anything. Alright. You will understand it. Trend total factor productivity captures efficiency gains from better use of capital and labor. This is a terminology. Trend total factor productivity depends on what? How well you are using capital and labor. Associated data regarding it. Chapter 1 is over. Any doubts here, people? Any questions? This PDF will be available at Nikhil Ram. Oops. No. Not at Nikhil Ram. 1 minute. I should have added that. This is taking more time than I thought. I thought I will complete at least 3 chapters today. T.me Nikhil Sir _ UPSC Wala. There I will make it available. Clear. I think we should move for working towards manufacturing service today. Wonderful. Done. All right. Can be there any gap between actual values and values shown in economic survey? Definitely not, because ultimately these are all datas only. We don't see, one of the biggest challenge for India is the current government is getting proper data in order. That data we don't have even now. So generating that data, that is why everything, if you notice, there is an entire shake-up of the system. Why is it happening? Because we don't have proper data of anything. So starting with our SIR exercise, special intensive revision exercise towards anything that you talk about, it is all about what? Finally, let us sort out who is who. How many industries are there? How many are there under formal? How many are there under informal? Let us get a clear-cut idea. So maybe by 27, 28 and all, that 27, 28 will be again a little too early. But let us say by 2030 at least, pin-to-pin data will be available with the government. See, your vocabulary is poor. Okay, I did not get irritated for that. I just wanted to know what is your age. That's all. Not that I got irritated for it. And remittance, etc. The reason is that maybe, I don't know, if you have attended your economic class, you should have known it. Or maybe you have not. What do you think about UGC new guidelines? Why should I think? It is a matter, it is a sub judice, no? Matter of sub judice. Whatever Supreme Court says is what I'm going to follow. End of the story. Is this related to economics, sir? Yeah. Fiscal development. It is definitely related to economics. Definitely. Fiscal development simply means chapter 2. How government utilizes its money. And in a nutshell, I will tell you what this chapter is about. This chapter basically says how center is doing with its money and how states are doing it. Performance wise, center is actually doing a fantastic job. Because center is bringing down its revenue deficit. Revenue deficit, I have told this multiple times in my current affair classes also. The easiest way to remember revenue deficit is, to understand revenue deficit simply means revenue expenditure is much more than revenue receipts. That is what it means. That means whatever expenses I have under revenue expenditure is very, very high than my revenue receipts what I have. What comes under revenue expenditure? Remember it as DIPS. D for defense. I for interest payments. P for PABAD. S for subsidies. I have created this. This is not there in any official textbooks out there. This is the easiest way that I found to remember. Defense, I cannot cut it down. Interest payments means what? Whatever loan India has borrowed, how to pay for it back. You have to pay interest every month. You cannot say, please adjust next month I will give. That you cannot do. This you have to pay. Subsidies. You don't pay subsidies, you can forget the next election. So the only area where you can make some or the other compromise is public administration. Reduce the vacancies, contract out all the jobs, hire people only on contract basis, privatize more and more, reduce the government jobs, which is what the government is doing. Central government especially. And central government, if you actually notice, central government is not providing direct freebies. Central government is providing subsidies. So what has happened is central government has managed to bring down its revenue deficit. As a result of which, even fiscal deficit is also declining. Fantastic news it is. On the other side, if you notice, then where center is spending money, center is actually spending money on capex, capital expenditure, roads, railways. I mean, you can see it. Vande Bharat, that highway, this flyover, National Highway Authority of India, that you are able to see. Coming to the states, what are they doing? They are actually doing a pathetic job. They are actually doing Tandani Nane, Tanina Nano. Why? Freebies. Or to put it even more correctly, unconditional cash transfers. Nichita Mude 2026 prelims. Nichita, either read it completely or attend this class. One or the other. Oof. Irrelevant questions to the discussion. Decline in the primary deficit to GDP ratio. What is this? What is primary deficit? Primary deficit simply means fiscal deficit minus the interest payments. That is what it means. Fiscal deficit minus the interest payments. What does that indicate? See, interest payment, like I told you, I cannot compromise on that. I have to pay it. One, because that is like my committed expenditure. It's my commitment. After doing that, okay, it is almost like, every month you also, those of you are working or those of you get your pocket money who are staying away from home. First thing, as soon as your parents send money home, what do? You pay the hostel fees or you pay the rent. You're like, okay, this much money for food, this. You do it off. You finish it off. Because then you will see literally how much money you have now for your personal expenditure that entire month. Same thing with the government. Once I set interest payment, I'm keeping it aside. That money I'm keeping it aside. Go. Remaining money will tell me how much money I have for my current expenditure. Clear? Indicates that incremental borrowings are increasingly being used to service past interest obligations rather than finance current expenditure. What does that mean? What does that whole sentence mean? Whatever little bit of borrowings, whatever we are doing currently. See, the government has to borrow. Government borrowing is not a bad idea. Indian government is also borrowing. But whatever borrowing Indian government is doing, it is largely for what? For managing the current expenditure. Very less it is going for what? Paying the loan. That is the old loan ka interest, whatever is there, very less is going for it. That means basically, Indian government is doing really, really well. That is the bottom line. Because like I told you, central government is not wasting its money on freebies, etc. Subsidies also, we have managed to bring it down. It is reducing actually, believe it or not. It is actually reducing because why? Obviously it will reduce, right? When you make everything Aadhaar enabled payment system, everything is digital what is it? Transaction, wastage, corruption, etc. Everything comes down. So things will look better. Clear? Consider the following statements regarding a lower revenue deficit. Revenue deficit represents the gap between revenue expenditure and revenue receipts of the government. A lower revenue deficit necessarily implies that the government has achieved revenue surplus. Reduction in revenue deficit improves the quality of fiscal consolidation by limiting borrowings for consumption purposes. A lower revenue deficit can coexist with a high fiscal deficit if capital expenditure is significantly increased. Which of the following statements given above are correct? 1, 3 and 4, 2 and 3, 1 and 4, 1, 2, 3 and 4. A. Who is that? Ishika. Ishika, Shalini, Sunanda, Sneha, Abhijit, Arun. Shakira, Vijay Chetri. That is wrong, Vijay. Shivam Kumar. Because that is wrong. Yashun. Okay, at least PW students, everybody has got it right. I'll break the suspense straight away. This is the definition. So there should be no doubt regarding it. Then, reduction in revenue deficit improves the quality of fiscal consolidation by limiting borrowings for consumption purposes. Absolutely true. Because a reduction in revenue deficit simply means less consumption expenditure. That means you will actually have more funds for, I'll use the proper word, capex, capital expenditure. A lower revenue deficit can coexist with a high fiscal deficit if capital expenditure is significantly increased. Absolutely true. Why? Because fiscal deficit is the summation of revenue deficit plus capital deficit. Even if your revenue deficit is low, but government is borrowing excessively to fund capital investments, then what will happen? FD also will increase. 1, 3 and 4, we know it is correct. What about the second one? A lower revenue deficit necessarily implies that the government has achieved revenue surplus. Not necessary. Not at all necessary. It could be just that your expenses have gone down. You learn to manage your expenses. Not necessary that your tax collections have gone up. That is an assumption right there. So answer is A. Alright people. Graphs again. If you notice, observe the trend like I told you. Which is high, which is low. So again, revenue deficit, if you see 71, it increased 79. 2021. Here it would have increased obviously because of COVID. COVID is the reason for this. From then onwards, we are trying to bring it down. 65, 61, 46, 36, 33. That means from financial year 21 to the budget estimates, if you see, it is going on reducing. Clear? Ulta. Capital expenditure, you see. 36, it dropped to 23. Then it increased to 37. 37 became 42, 57, 66, 71. Clear? Clear with this, people? Then basically what and all grew? Aggregate corporate profit of listed companies increased. So corporate profit increased from financial 21 to 25. Personal income tax collections increased. Corporate tax collection increased. During which period? The same period. Then values. These are all in, by the way, lakh crore. You can check the trend. 7, 8, 9, 9.8, 10.82. Complete. Non-corporate 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. Personal income tax 6, 8, 10, 11, 13. Security transaction tax 23, 0.23, 0.25, 0.34, 0.55, 0.78. So if you notice the entire thing, what are you seeing? Everything has gone up. Tax collections, everything is going up, which clearly indicates what? The nominal GDP calculated in current prices. 235, 268, 301, 330, 357. That has also gone up. Got it? This is the way to study graphs. Because UPSC has this trend. It has consistently increased, consistently declined. Or income tax was varying. Income tax collections were varying. One look at this, what is it? There is no variation here. It is from 22, if you notice, it's going on up, climbing up. Clear? Direct and non-corporate taxes outlook. Pre-pandemic, 51.9, 55.5, 58.8. That is the share of direct taxes in total taxes today. Non-corporate tax collection, it increased from 2.4 to 3.3. It is not plus, it's plus it is. From 3.3, it actually reduced. This image is slightly wrong. Minus 3. It reduced. Okay, 3. Not this. 3.0. Then it increased to 3.7. Buoyancy of 1.8 during financial year 23 to 25. Growth was faster than the nominal GDP. Means what? Tax buoyancy was faster. That means more than the rate of growth of GDP, we were collecting taxes better, efficiently. Efficient collection of taxes. Now, how will that happen? How is this possible? Tax collection growth is more than the growth of the country. Efficiency, obviously, tax collection efficiency has increased, but specifically there is a reason. We'll see that. Corporate tax is applicable. Obviously, it is applicable. Who said it is not applicable? Excise duty collections went down slightly from 22 to 25 if you compare, but 9.3% excise collection grew year on year. Customs duty had declined. Gross GST tax collections, if you see, in lakh crore, if I am going to calculate, it has increased. 14.9, 18.1, 20.2, 22.1. Year on year growth also, if you see, it has gone up. Clear? Registered GST taxpayers increased. Cumulative e-way bill volumes. E-way bill volumes are basically for interstate trade and transport. If you have an e-way bill, you can easily pass without checking, etc. No need to, nobody will come and check your vehicle. E-way bill is there. It will actually reduce your, transit time. Dividends and profits grew over by 70%. Dividends and profits means dividends and profits comes from PSUs. It also comes from RBI surplus transfer. Correct? Interest receipt 0.22, 0.28, 0.38, 0.41, 0.48 increase. Dividends and profit 1.61 dropped here, 1.71 increased. So this dropped over here. External grant 0.01, 0.02, 0.01, 0.01, 0.01 means what? External grants, whatever we are getting externally from other countries as grant, keep. They will give it to the central government only, right? That is a very minuscule portion. Or, I'll tell it to you now only, I'll break the whole suspense now. India has loans. Okay. India has loans. But Indian loans, if you see, are largely of domestic loans are more than external loans. External loan is like a minuscule portion. That is the reason why most of the credit rating agencies has improved India's rating to BBB plus, because they are telling India is not at all vulnerable to external shocks. India is actually far more safe. Economically, when you see, it is far more safe. Tomorrow dollar gets de-dollarized also, India will be like, or bowl. Surprise, surprise. India will not even worry about it. Provisional account budget estimate. Provisional means, it simply means this is temporary for that time period only. Budget estimate, when you say we are estimating, it will reach to this level. It will reach to this level. It's an estimation. Provisionally, currently, this is where it is stand. Now, this financial year is yet to get over, right? 25-26. It is still going on only. It will get over only by when this next budget, everything comes out. Correct? So, it's still ongoing. The values needs to be updated here. This is our expectation. Other non-tax revenues includes, this again can come as a question, user charges, license fees, royalties, fines and penalties, receipts from economic and general services. How much RBI approved? Surplus transfer of 2.68 lakh crore, about 27% higher than the 2.19 lakh crore transferred in the previous year. Economic services includes communication, roads and bridges, accounted for a significant share of non-tax revenue. Number of operating CPSEs has increased from 256 in 20 to 291. Total gross turnover 24.62 lakh crore to 37. That means everything is a increase here. Net profit 0.93 to 2.91. Dividend from 0.72 to 1.39. Private loan means whose private loan? Remittances from SUUTI amounted to about 1051 crore, and INVIT based monetization yield. What is this SUUTI? It is actually a government owned company only. Now, what is their job? I will tell you. Pretty interesting it is. They have invested in the topmost companies inside India. Shares they have. This company, SUUTI, that is including Adani, Ambani, everything, ITC, every little bit, bits and pieces of shares they have bought and kept. Whenever they are in little need of money, finance ministry is in need of money, what do? You know? Whatever little bit of shares they have, maybe of Ambani's, okay, go sell that, go sell this, they'll just sell it. That money again will go to whom? To the government. Got the point here? Next, INVIT based monetization yielded. What is INVIT here? Infrastructure. Investment in infrastructure trust. That is like your mutual fund only. The only difference is that this is an exclusive fund. This is an exclusive fund for infrastructure. So I can actually invest in this, which my money will be taken for infrastructure projects. And on completion, whatever profit they will make, right, through toll charges or whatever, I will get a share of it every month. A percentage will come to me based on how much money I invested. Every month I'll get a return. That is what INVIT is. Pura accounts nahi aata. It is all, again, some of you are asking me very basic questions. Please wait till you start your economic syllabus, because I cannot literally go behind each and everything over here. The other aspect here is Companies Act requires at least 51% government ownership for an entity to qualify as a government company. How much it should be? 51%. I have told this in my current affair class. Confederation of Indian Industries wants government to do what? Reduce the government's shareholding to just 10%. But if government has to reduce its control over all the public sector enterprises just to 10%, what will government have to do? First, change the definition itself. They'll have to amend the whole thing. So that is futuristic. Major subsidies decline, revenue expenditure moderated, DBT transfer reforms reduced fiscal leakages. Direct benefit, I told you, directly you're transferring it to the account. So money has been saved by the central government. This is again a list of the pay and allowances, pension, subsidies for fertilizer, food, petroleum, interest payment, defense services, how much it is coming to. Check out the trend. That is your homework again. Again, highest, lowest, find it out from this. And what is the trend over a 5-year period? Same for this also. Roads, highways and railways accounted for over half of total capital expenditure. Not at all surprising, because this government has been doing one thing properly, is roads, highways and railways. Clear? Again, how much money is being spent for each of this in lakh crore? What is the year-on-year growth? As you can clearly see, everywhere it is growth only. Nudge. This is something which was there in the survey. What is nudge? Non-intrusive usage of data to guide and enable. When you look at it, you will feel, oh my God, what is this? Nudge actually means, generally it means what? Giving a slight poke, poking somebody, or giving a slight pinch. This is what the tax authorities have been using. That is, rather than asking, come on, pay this much of tax, rather than that, they are telling them, listen, why don't you accept it? See, this much is your liability. If we decide to go for a case with you, you will have to pay this much. Why don't you pay this much amount and sort it out? Let us call it a day. You pay this much at least. So it is more like, just pay na, just pay this much. Come on. We know how much assets you have. We know how much money you have held up there. We know how much of your income you have not declared properly. Rather than forcing them or threatening them. So using this, what has happened is tax buoyancy increased more than the GDP growth. Slowly telling people, hey, pay na, pay no, why? That sort of a thing. That is the reason why tax collections have gone up drastically. Got the point here? This is the declaration of foreign assets worth 29,000 crore. Foreign income, 1,000 crore. Corrections reduced excessive deduction, 2,050 crore. Tax payments over 680 crore were generated. All of this, basically it's data from that point. Entire data. Any doubts over here? Any one or two data only you need to just read it. From prelims you don't require it, to be very, very honest. But nudge at all, if at all it comes, nudge, at least it should come. Income tax authorities. Sorry, tax authorities. Both income tax as well as GST. Both put together. Oh yeah, provisional actuals, not account. Sorry. Okay. Impact of GST 2.0 reform. We know it. 56th meeting it was. Okay. Structure conserve a standard rate of 18% and a merit rate of 5%. A special demerit or sin good rate of 40%. 40% demerit rate is inclusive of the earlier compensations. This much is what? So 40% contains a compensations as also. Fine. This only 3 rates now. There is no increase in the overall tax burden. This reform represents the third leg of the tax reform tripod. That means 3 reforms have happened. GST reform, 5, 18, 40. That was the third one. Which were the first 2? The first leg was the corporate tax reduction implemented in 2019. Tax was reduced. Why? Because after demonetization, after implementation of GST, every corporate company were like, enough, we don't want to invest anymore. Tax buoyancy. No. Arun, we are talking about a speculation here. I am talking about a data here. The real reason what actually led to it was nudge, to be very honest. Because if you really notice, corporate tax had gone down. Now, to answer your question, increase in tax rate, corporate tax went down. The first leg, 2019, it has not been increased after that. Second leg was the personal income tax reform effective from April 2025. That is up to 12 lakh. You don't have to pay tax. Third one was what? GST reform, 5, 18, 40. Clear? So, three things put together. Tripod means what? A tripod is something with 3 legs. That's it. Tripod is usually used for a camera, right? Tripod means 3 leg. First leg, second leg, third leg. Tax reforms. Which article is applied on a company? Kaliya Nag. Why do you need all that? When you are asking a question or when you are having a doubt also, always think two things. Is it a repeatedly asked question? Is it repeatedly coming in the newspaper? That's it. This is the overall analysis part. Just read it, because we know if taxes reduce, that is both income tax and GST. If it reduces, the expectation is what? Consumption will increase. We'll have to wait and watch. Unutilized input tax credit. Residual inverted duty issues are being addressed through faster and fully automated refunds of unutilized input tax credit. What is that? Residual inverted duty issues. Inverted duty you need to understand first. Inverted duty means duty of input is more than duty of the finished good. With this, we used to have it for the smartphone sector, electronics basically. The screen, if I want to import, that will actually cost what? That will actually cost more than if I am buying the full phone. Because of that one major reason only, we did not have any domestic companies here in India. So people actually preferred, okay, why should I only buy the spare part? Let me buy the whole phone only then. That is the bottom line. So most of our electronic goods, if you see, let it be TV, let it be laptop, let it be phone, whatever, smartphone, whatever you talk about, the duty was such that if you buy the spare part, high duty you have to pay. But if I'm buying the full phone, low duty you have to pay. Clear? Yeah. Now this one thing. Cross subsidies in railway traffic and power distribution. In a nutshell, I will explain this because time is actually also running out. So India is one country where railways, if you see what is the real problem in our country is this. Freight charges are so high, very high value level it is kept, as a result of which passenger tickets can be sold cheaply. Again, you will hear that passengers, poor passengers, what will they do? They keep telling that. With that whole poverty ka thing, or that whole poor, what will the middle class do? With that one narrative, they actually go and choke the government, telling that, see, you shouldn't increase the rate. How will poor people travel? This is what they say. But let me tell you what is really happening because of this. Transporting any goods in India is such an expensive thing, especially if you are going by train, because it's damn expensive. What is cheaper? the cheaper alternative is roadways. And that is the reason why you see so many trucks in this country. The moment you take your car and go out, you're going on a holiday or you're traveling through the city, you will come across one or the other goods truck. Either they are traveling within the city, forget it. But the big ones are there, right? The 18-foot, 18 tires and all. So you will be like, what are these trucks doing here, man? You'll be wondering. This is the reason. So what happens because of that is accidents increases, along with that greenhouse gas emissions increase. In addition to that, cost also actually increases in the long run. In the long run, it increases actually. Outside, it may look very cheap, but actually your cost is actually climbing up like anything, because destination to destination to destination, it has to go. So what they are telling is, it is high time that we ended this cross subsidization. That is, in other words, Indian goods train is funding passenger travel. Can't we reduce first class cabins in train and then make everything a general compartment? And then no civic sense, nothing. Understand, passenger, you take out that also, that much revenue is also gone, right, for the government. General compartment, how many people actually travel in it by taking tickets? How many people? Understand that very, very clearly. Vande Bharat, why you need this much expensive trains, first class? What will the poor people do? First class people are not traveling for free. They are paying a bomb and then they are traveling in it. General class, if you actually see, there is nothing general about it. Because to be very honest, the survey also found out, not this survey, I'm talking about a survey at least 10 years ago, where they found out that more than 90% of people who are traveling in train can actually afford high ticket prices. They can afford it. It is less than 10%. For the less than 10%, Indian Railways, the giant of Indian Railways, is trying to cater to by not increasing the ticket prices. But instead, what are they doing? Increasing the freight charges. Freight charges, when you go on increasing, it will even increase our export prices. Because if you're taking it through this, cost is high. You're taking it through the roadway also, diesel prices and petrol prices are not cheap. Got the point here? That is railways for you. The next thing is power sector. Power sector also, the comedy is that high electricity tariff has to be paid by industries and factories. Why? To actually fund consumer level electricity. Actually, in any other country, if you go, this is kept low, that is kept high. Because this will create employment, this will create growth. That is what you keep it low. What is the whole point? People will waste it. People will not actually value it. Got the picture here? This is the other reason why Indian exports suffer. Because in industries or factories, you pay high electricity. Transportation, you try to do for industries or factories, again you end up paying high. So to solve this problem, government had come out with an electricity amendment bill, but that is still in the bill stage. All right. Why 90% people do this? See, we are not a civic society. Let me tell you, if if something falls on the road, let us say it is fruit. Okay, I will tell you. Let me take an example from the so-called literate state of Kerala, my home state. So one differently abled guy, he is handicapped, like in his hand as well as his leg. He limps and walks. Okay, he took loan and he decided to create a small freshwater lake, like brackish water lake near his house. He made. He put prawn babies, prawns, then all these um, fishes, which are very, very expensive. Like once they grow, you can easily sell it to hotels, and that will actually generate good money for him. So he brought them, paying a bomb again, because these babies are also not cheap. Prawns, whatever you talk about, he got these, he put it there. One evening, so 3 months, 6 months, you have to wait for them to grow. He was feeding it, he was taking care of it really well, blah blah blah, all that he was doing. One evening, what he goes and sees is that same village, his neighboring, that is all our neighboring families, all people whom he knows, they have all dived into that water. They have brought shawl, saris, lungis, whatever is available. They were capturing all these fishes and prawns. This poor guy, he didn't know what to say. Was going on telling them, don't do it, please don't do it. But who is going to get scared of a differently abled guy? And these are not people who are like poor. Understand, these are all people who can actually buy it and eat it. But no, they thought, okay, one person entered, then they thought, okay, if one is taking, then why can't I take? Then everybody entered and started taking. That is Indian society for you. If this can happen in a literate state, imagine what is the scenario in the rest of the country. Got the point here? This is the reality. Oh. This is the explanation, whatever I gave. Tech driven solutions for improving efficiency in public expenditure. Any doubts here, people? Absolutely. Disha, nothing to tell you. You are actually in a cocoon where you feel that the world revolves around you. You have caused enough disturbance to that entire chat section, right? Enjoy. Nothing to tell you further than this. All right. Tech driven solutions, I will take it up on Tuesday. Any further questions on economic survey? Let me know. Maybe I'll have to stretch the class. I mean, not stretching the class. Maybe I'll have to put 1 or 2 days extra. But I thought this is the best way to actually do it. So, whatever I am giving today as PDF to you, wherever I have marked it, circled it, those are the theories what you need to revise. Got the point here? Those theories you need to revise. That is when your basics becomes thorough. Revising economics before held. Yes, good. Absolutely, Arun. Basis point, it is just a terminology used in banking. One basis point roughly means 1 by 100. That is the value. 1 by 100 is the value. 1 basis point. 0.01 percentage. That's it. Monday CCA class will be taken, definitely. Because this suddenly landed in my hands. I was actually expecting some economics faculty to take it up. And then I got to know that there is mm, some technical or some issues are there. So then it fell onto my lap. So I had to obviously sit and prepare. That is the reason. Yes, there will be a class on Tuesday. This class will continue on Tuesday, then Thursday, then Saturday again. So this session will continue. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, we will have our normal current affair classes. That we will have normally. To the CCA batch, I am telling this. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, we'll have our normal classes. This will continue into Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. All right. Any other concerns, people? One year current affair is more than sufficient for UPSC. More than sufficient with a proper revision of your all right. Yeah, with a proper revision of what is it? Yeah. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, brother. With a proper revision of the basic concepts. 1 year current affair is enough. Sub judice matter, let Supreme Court come with its verdict. I've always said this, when a matter is under the consideration of the Supreme Court or when some things are there which is still ongoing, don't waste your time discussing it or even pondering over it. Because ultimately you are supposed to be men or women of the law. So you have to follow the law as it is. Now, whatever Supreme Court will come out with, we will have to simply follow it. That is the reality. Interesting. Economic value suddenly boosts up. Economic value of Indian currency boosts up. Well, it will increase the imports, adversely affect the exports. UPSC can ask any number of years current affair, but if you are actually planning to sit and read 3-4 years current affair, you are never going to clear the service. Because you have to study your GS subjects, you have to do your optional subjects. Once you're done with all of that, at least 4-5 times, including the answer writing, and you have plenty of time available, please go ahead, read as many back years as possible. Basics and static portions, please. Basic and static portions, attend all the classes properly. Don't create a single backlog. 1 year current affair, more than sufficient, because I'm telling you again and again, you need actually a thorough grip on your, as Ishika rightfully said here, she had already revised economics. So as soon as I started discussing the concepts here, it just started clicking for her. So that is why I think she was pretty quick even in answering the two questions, 2 or 3 questions that whatever I have put in the first chapter. She was giving the answers. So that is the point here. Your fundamentals have to be very thorough. Only then you can correlate it. Thank you, Mohit. Exactly. Article 21 is expanding. I saw that today. It is constantly expanding. So we can expect questions on that too. Put a timetable, brother, and stop spending time on YouTube. You are preparing for JE. What are you doing in my comment section there? Please prioritize. What do you want to do in life? Please understand. You're preparing for JE, one of the toughest exams in the country. Sit and prepare for it. Get out of online. Yeah, menstrual health. Very good. Class 10th allivi ಇದೆ 10th exams ಇದೆ ನಿಮಗೆ ಅದೇ focus on that, right? People 10th standard, 12th standard, please go and focus on your board exams. Important. What are you doing here? Next, we have got another spammer now. Class, because I already have another class at the same time. What should I do? This class you're talking about, I mean, this will anyway go in YouTube, so you can always watch it from there. So I think it will be available now, maybe in another half an hour or so. It will be available, so you can watch it tomorrow, Sunday. Yeah, class is over. I'm just suggestions or strategy for 14 days. Don't study anything new. Revise whatever you have studied. Stay away from online. AMA session. This week, I don't think it will be possible. Monday to Saturday. We will definitely try something. Once this economic survey is over, we'll try to keep something. We'll keep an AMA session. I know it is pretty much due. We were supposed to keep one on December, and that we couldn't do. Then January is also over now. So we'll try to figure out one day in February. Definitely we will do it. Tamil Nadu preparing for TNPSC, will it be helpful? Current affairs, see, economic questions are going to come as economic questions only. Analysis, you need it any which way. So TNPSC, I don't know. Maybe with the current government that is there, which is highly critical of the central government, whether you will get questions which are pro-center, I don't think so. But yes, the economic concepts remains the same, right? Whether you write state services, any economics is one subject where whether you write it for state or center or whichever exam it is, you need those concepts at the end of the day. Thank you, Shanu. AFCAT exam. How did it go, Shivam? SSC, I have always said this, focus more on maths, more on English section. General awareness carries only 25 questions just for tier 1. Tier 2 is where the real deal is. Tier 2, you have to score really well. By constantly talking and using the language. That's the only way. I am not at all complete, NV Gaming. I am a man with a lot of insecurities and inferiority complex, for your information. It is just that I know that I have those insecurities. I have accepted it for what it is. And I'll hit 40 next year. So I am basically not bothered anymore now. Okay. That you should expect. CD has analyzed the paper, sit and study. Other than that, what else to do? I've already said this. Any exam you want to prepare, analyze it first. Analyze it properly. Thank you, Shakira. Little by little, I thought we will finish it off today. I mean, I thought we can finish 3 chapters, but no. So maybe we'll do it little by little. We will stretch it also if it is necessary. Instead of 4, we will try to keep it 7 or 8. I don't know whether even I will get the clearance for it from the top, because I told them 4 days, but it is taking more time than that, because even if one word is there which needs to be explained, and we have to deliver it. That is the point. Same. 7 p.m. Tuesday live, Thursday live, Saturday live, YouTube live will all be at 7 p.m. RSS feeds. Why? Let your seniors suggest anything that they want. It is all just smoke. Nothing based on concrete evidence. You look at the question pattern, etc. Is it based on what RSS ideology is? But I stick to your classes. My classes are based on current affairs. It is not based on any RSS feed. Because it's an English YouTube channel. Prajapati Nilesh. What suggestion you would give to those appearing in UPSC 2026? Kalyani, I've made a timetable again, weekly goals, which comes every Sunday. So I hope you are using it. If you're not using it also, I hope you have a timetable of yourself where you're religiously sticking to it and diligently you are following it up. A timetable again should be something where it is not too easy, where you aram se do it. Like one day if you don't study also nothing happens, no issues. That shouldn't be the case. Nor it should be a case where you burden yourself too much so that at the end of the day you feel, oh my god, I have not even covered half of my targets. So reasonable timetable you should make and stick to it. Even now if you start, there is still some semblance of hope that you will crack prelims. That's all that I can say. This is the time where you have to push it. Push the gears. Attending my live, the advantage is obviously you are ending up revising the main subject called economics. That is a main advantage, at least once the survey is over. Go ahead. Nitya Lakshmi, if you have covered completed commerce, you can try chartered accountancy, you can try company secretary. These are two wonderful, lucrative careers which you can take up after commerce, completing commerce. Get into job after graduation, but it's very hard to get job of basic degree. Please do suggest us. Sachin, you can actually go for maybe start preparing for banking, railways, those type of exams. If you have done a basic degree, that's the only option. If I study 12 hours a day, will I be able to clear CDS this year? That is, I don't know about that. I'm not God. 12 hours is not the point. It's not quantity. It's always quality over quantity. So how much quality studying are you doing? How many topics are you covering? Have you analyzed the papers? Are you preparing according to the demand of the exam? Those things matter. I think that's it. Let's call it a day then, people. Take care. See you all on Tuesday, 7 p.m. on the dot.